And Paul here was addressing this issue. He was saying the only means by which you are going to be able to stand is if you pay it forward. If you take that $20 bill and you do something extraordinary with it because of your past, you're going to do what you do in the present, and it's going to serve you well in the future. But Paul was pointing to the message of the cross. And he was saying in the message of the cross that the Spirit of the living God is the one who dwells in you to the point at which He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you could ask or even think. For greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. And in the bottom line, in the final analysis, what he was saying here is two things. When you walk in, you live out. When you understand who lives in, you are now able to live out. When you have paid it forward, because Christ on the cross paid that deposit forward for us. He established for us what only God can give to us, the power of the cross, so that when you give your heart and life to Jesus, you're able to stand, to live, to be all that God wants you to be. And Paul here made no bones about the fact that the lust of the flesh, or the desire of the flesh, the pull of the world, is ginormous. In fact, previously in the same passage, he even puts this out for us, and he tells us all about the battle of the flesh. He tells us about the adulteries and the fornications and the hate and the witchcraft and the lying and the struggles and the sin and the sordidness and the morbidness, the death and the destruction. The world in which we live. Have you ever been to a high school reunion? I want to quickly add, I never have been. My high school is not in Cowpens. I've never been to a high school reunion. In fact, I'm not sure if I could tell you a single person who graduated with me or where they are. But I always hear people talking about high school reunions. You know, I went to my 30th or my 40th or my 50th reunion, and it absolutely amazed me looking upon the faces of people, and they're not talking in terms of age. They're talking in terms of the destruction of the sinfulness of this life. Do you know how many people get destroyed by this world? There are many things that contribute handsomely to a good life. Many things. To a bright future. Education contributes handsomely to that. A good upbringing. Good manners. Hard work, good choices. These are all great things. But the greatest means by which you and I pay it forward is through Jesus Christ and Him crucified. That's why I want to invite you today to give your life to Christ. So I want to do something just very simple here today. I've asked myself the question, what does it take? How does this happen? 3 things. Number 1, you have to intentionally receive it. You have to intentionally receive it. I find more and more people. In fact, I got a letter just recently from a young man. I really appreciated this letter too. Wrote me a dear Dr. Don note and gave it to me and said, would you read this and would you be kind enough to respond? And it was a personal note. I appreciated it very gladly, so much in fact that I actually went. I didn't just respond with a letter or a phone call. I actually went and said, hey, come and sit down with me and have a cup of coffee. And I just appreciate it. And basically he said to me, Dr. Don, he said, I have been around you for all these years. And he said, you know, I'm about to move on and move up. And I got a lot of dreams and aspirations. And he said, I just wonder whether you've got any advice for me on how to do it. If someone came to you today, which they do, your sons, your grandsons and daughters, and your daughters, your friends and your neighbors, and come to you and say to you, what is the key? What is it that you've done in your life that made you who you are today? What would you say to them? Well, I told you there's a lot of great things. You know, get a good education. Make good choices. Strive for excellence. Go for the gold. You know, I'm all those kinds of things. Hit the ball straight. Don't compromise. We got a lot of good things. By the way, have you ever listened to these graduation commencement exercises at these great universities where they have all these famous Hollywood stars? Have you ever heard a Hollywood star deliver a commencement address? Have you ever heard such poppycock in all your life? And they give them an honorary doctorate for something like that? I heard one the other day. I said, what? Yeah, just, hey, listen, all of you, just go for it, man. Don't let anybody get in your way and just seize the moment. Make yourself some popcorn while you're doing it. No substance. What would you say? Number one, you have to intentionally receive it.